Whoa.
People wouldn't.
Kikarus.
People won't. Matsame.
Go put it in the fridge.
Madawaka.
People ishi.
I don't want it.
People mota.
Alito.
Yo.
All morning.
Anti hunter.
Wouldn't.
She's waiting for him to come across the screen.
It's been forever. Kunamante.
Madawika.
Yate.
Stongo. Chokma. Chimichokma. Stongo. Oshkin yacha.
It's Jay Chabon.
Che. Chaban.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Mike DeGiven. Heinepe. Did we get them all? Yo.
I think so.
Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning. Coming live from 1950 South Shepherd here in El Ghetto, El Reno, Helltown. Where the hell you been at, Tatum?
Oh my gosh, it's been forever since I've been on this couch.
Remember when you were dedicated?
Remember when you had passion?
Remember when you had passion?
You see, we'll get into that.
You said you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about it. But
So we're here.
that's
We're
not
jumping
do it.
right in.
That's not my intro.
Oh.
Oh, well, go ahead. Go ahead with your intro, then I'll get on you.
It feels good to be back on the couch and to talking about life. And we're about to get into this. Yeah, be present.
And present.
Get into this meditation. But how was your holiday? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. I got to spend it with my granddaughters. So, to me, that's kind of what it's about now. They're great grandparents where my daughters usually go. I guess weren't having a Thanksgiving. So, I don't want my daughters to like I wanted to be with them. So, they got to spend it with my daughters and my granddaughters and a few other extended family members. And it just felt good. My nephew Shannon was there. My niece Lanaya. A couple kids missing, but for the most part, I enjoyed cooking. It's been a passion, since having like these vision problems. That's kind of something that really soothes my soul. Is I found that out early on in my recovery. In California, I just really enjoy, cooking.
Yeah.
That's part of my recovery. And it's crazy because the house that I was at, I was in Mission Viejo first. And the house that I was at, they had a bunch of like frozen meat that needed to be like cooked.
Yeah.
And they had, there was a pool. They had an outside, kitchen with the grill. So one day I just go out there and I just start making all these hamburgers, hot dogs, I made these chicken kebabs. Man, and it was, and that was the first time I had actually cooked since I had gotten sober. And it turned out great. It was, I surprised myself, especially with the chicken kebabs. But it turned out great. And I invited the whole house to come and eat. We actually sat around the table. And, before they're all like Uber Eats and all that, getting their food and go back to their room. Well, that was my only requirement, is that we come out, kind of just break bread together and get to know each other. And it was crazy because there was a couple that did not want me doing that. it was the weirdest thing. You know, they had their own thing going on. You know, kind of battling against this other couple. You know, and you know, they were really offended.
Mhm.
So they go back and they start telling on me every time I do it. You know, going back to the center, and we're like, he's feeding like the cash pay people. You know, I guess the cash pay people weren't allowed to eat. You know, the
Food in the house.
the food in the house, but this food was like about to go bad.
Yeah, and it wasn't even about that. For
Yeah.
you. Like it was about like
Yeah, it was about-
connection and
Yeah.
just getting to feed people and eat together.
So then, that's whenever I moved to Fountain Valley
Mhm.
and kind of really found like just got real comfortable over there. You know, everyone's like, "Oh shit, you come over here and cook whatever you want."
Yeah.
You know, I think there was only like one cash pay couple, but I mean, even then, like they'd be like, "We'll go buy something if you're gonna cook."
Mhm.
So I mean, it was cool. So yeah, I really enjoy cooking. I burnt 2 hams,
It happens.
burnt them,
Burnt and bad.
but it was funny because I cut off the burnt parts. I have no idea how I burnt them. I'm sitting right next to them, smelling them, thinking like maybe some of the juice got like
In the bottom of the oven. or
in the
something.
bottom
Yeah.
of the oven, you know, like, and that's what I'm smelling.
Mhm.
I go and take off the lid, and they're just black. I'm like, what the hell? I had no idea, but I cut off, basically the burnt parts. It was basically the skin. So I just pulled that off. I sliced it up, and then I made a glaze. Brown sugar, honey, cinnamon, and a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Mixed it up, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Turned out great.
Way to save it, right?
I know, right?
Because you would not want to waste all that.
Oh no, not at all. That was my first thought. Like, I'm about to just chunk it. Then I tore out part of the like burnt part after it cooled down.
Mhm.
It was like I can save
I
this.
can work with this.
Yeah. Then my turkey turned out great. So how was yours?
It was.
What did you cook?
Thanksgiving was great. I didn't cook anything yet because I'm still the baby. No. Next year I'll be a grown up and I'll cook.
That's not what your grandma said.
Apparently I should have been cooking.
So you just showed up somewhere and ate?
Heck yeah.
Man.
With my comfy pants on, ready to eat.
Wow.
No, so I've grown up my whole life having 2 Thanksgivings, sometimes 4, because I had, my mom and my dad and
Yeah.
my step-parents. My step-parents had, like, their families too, you know what I mean? Holidays were always just all over the place for me. Or I'd have to eat at one place, and then I'd have to eat at my mom's, and then rush to my dad's, but I wouldn't be hungry. And so as I've gotten older, I don't know why they're just now figuring this out, but they're starting to do their holidays on different days. So I had one on Thanksgiving Day and one on Saturday, and both of them were really peaceful, just surrounded by really good food. On Saturday, it was a bit more chaotic, but there's never a holiday without a little something, a little chaos. But nothing too crazy, and I just really like getting to see Josie get together with her cousins.
Mhm.
That's important to me. 'Cause
Yeah.
I feel like with just the way life is, and we go to work and we come home and we have kids and responsibilities, that kids don't always get that connection with their cousins anymore,
Yeah.
or just kids their age in general, And so, other than it being at school. So it was really good. I think we're gonna host me and my mom are gonna have a little Christmas thing for our family.
That's cool.
And I'm looking forward to that. I do enjoy cooking, and it's different when you're cooking for people who appreciate it. Like, no matter what you make, like, if you know what I mean, like, if you get to come home to a meal that's cooked and made with love, and you did it because you wanted to, not because you had to, like, I don't know. And so that's kind of what I've been doing lately with my evenings is spending a lot more time cooking at home and just spending time with Josie. You know, I'm realizing that she's growing up right before my eyes, and she's 6, but she acts like she's 16, and she's gonna turn 7 next month. And life in recovery can get really busy, you know, really
yeah.
chaotic, and so I feel like I have found a balance in my life and just where I want to be at, and that's being a mom and focusing on being present and slowing down.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm glad you got to experience all of that. You know, I got to spend, you know, Johnny and Penelope got to come and eat dinner with me, which, you know, usually, you know, they live with their aunt and their grandma. And, you know, I understand they're always trying to get in as many, you know, as much time with their grandma, you know, as they can. So, you know, I never want to, you know, if anything, they'll invite me over, you know, but then I got kids, you know, like, so I try to find that balance. But yeah, they got to eat with me this year. I guess they had their Thanksgiving on Wednesday. So then I got to pick them up Thursday. And yeah, I mean, just the fact, because in my head, I'm like, if I got to do this every year for my granddaughters, then that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if I got to, you know, that's the kind of grandpa I want to be. You know, that's the kind of papa I want to be, you know, is just provide a place where, you know, like they know there's going to be some turkey and some ham, some good eatings going down, you know. And I had these like, you know, there was only a handful of, but the way that I cooked was like for an army.
Yeah.
So like,
I know how to cook for you.
yeah, I'm sitting there with like a whole cake.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like a whole cake, like just one piece taken out of it.
Oh my gosh.
Like
Hold
a
on, wait.
double pan.
Nat says we're being overpowered by the phone. Can you still hear us talk though? How do we?
Darian has to turn it down.
But his phone's over there. You can probably turn it down.
Busy.
Anyways, hope y'all have heard
Yeah.
everything that we've been saying. But so
hear you.
cooking, like, you know, it's been just me and Joe for so long, and so I've learned how to like only use what I need to use, and like, I don't know, maybe that's just it being only me, you know, me being the only provider. I've learned how to make little meals, and Denver cooks for an army. So there's no in between at our house. Either we have food for days or just enough, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to learn how to
Balance that.
and I don't know, I started cooking and now I like to cook again. I enjoy it, but then you gotta clean your kitchen, and I feel like I'm in the kitchen for like 4 hours in the evening just trying to make a meal and clean and cook and all of that. But also I'm getting to allow Josie to be a part of that. So she actually made, while I was cooking dinner last night, she made cookies all by herself and put them in the oven. And she has this little like pretend, like little fake oven mitt, you know. I don't think it's good enough to be pulling a hot pan out of the oven.
Yeah.
But she used it. So
That's cool.
yeah, I don't know. My life, you know, over 3 years in recovery now. I used to get on here and I used to talk about things that were still baffling to me. My struggles that I was still dealing with, you know, drama, chaos, and like now I just have a life partner and a home and my daughter, and I just don't have a lot of things that baffle me anymore. I think I've just found peace and balance in being a mother and a woman, and but that doesn't mean I'm not passionate, you know. I'll always help anyone who reaches out to me, contacts me, sends me a message. It's pretty cool whenever someone asks, like, they reach out and they're like, you know, I'm struggling and I want to know what that looked like for you. And no one calls me anymore. No one calls anymore. You know, I just get these Facebook messages.
Yeah.
And so I get to like sit and message with people, and
yeah,
that kind of takes me back through my journey, but also reminds me of like how far I've been able to make it. You know, I've made it this far, and that's not all on me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't know. I feel really good and really happy. It feels so good actually to be back to work. I was losing track of the days and I'm like, I don't even know what day it is anymore, Joe. She's like, tomorrow's December 1st. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I jumped up yesterday like, what time is it? I didn't set my alarm.
So you were out of it. You were off a day
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Natalie was like, chill out, bro. It's Sunday. It's 8:49.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well,
So that was funny. Yeah, that was yesterday.
AA says Seminole. Good morning.
Seminole.
Mama Leanna says, "What's up, my natives? Hope you all
What's
had
up,
a
boo?
great holiday break and are staying warm."
Hello.
Kimberly Sexton says, "Ocio."
Sure.
Oh,
Leslie Shorty says, "Good morning, brother."
Good morning. Good morning, Les.
Rissa says, "Good morning, y'all."
Good morning. Good morning.
Nat says, "Now it sounds like you're speaking in the side of the mic." She's being awfully
Just get
picky
over
this
it.
morning.
Just get over it.
Turn your
Stacy
volume
says,
up.
"Good morning." Bo Sam says, "Good morning to each
morning.
of you. Have a beautiful day. Snowing in Bartlesville." She
Wow.
Good morning.
Good morning.
says.
Good
Nat
morning.
said, "Barry and I wake up at like 6 a.m. on Thanksgiving, and we're ricocheting off of each other in the kitchen all morning
Yeah.
until I had to leave." She says, "Boy, I bet that was fun.
Blind guy. Yeah, she
Yeah,
knows to
trying
get out
to-
of a blind
Trying
guy's
to do
way.
stuff in the kitchen with Nat."
I'm not even blind, and I don't like anyone else in the kitchen with me at all.
My kitchen's like super small, dude.
Yeah.
It's probably about the size of this table and this couch. Like, not even that big.
hmm
Not even that big. Like, but you know,
Actually, while I was cooking yesterday, and Joe was making her cookies, so we were in the kitchen at the same time. In my new kitchen, it's pretty like open, you know, so I don't feel like claustrophobic or like someone's standing right over me while I'm cooking if someone's in there. But I burnt myself twice just like trying to get stuff out of the oven while she's right there, and I'm like, watch out, you know.
yeah,
So just a bit of chaos, but I think it's good to have your kids in the kitchen.
definitely. You know, there's some things that I can make. Maybe one or two things that I can make just like my grandma used to make. And I was the kid that would, you know, I was a grandma's boy. You know, ever since I could remember, you know, like I was always interested in what my grandma was interested in. So, you know, she'd be sitting there cooking a meal, you know, it's fall time. You know, all the boys, you know, because I had nothing but brothers. We'd all be outside playing football. And, you know, like, I don't know, like I would just kind of be like, I wonder what my grandma's doing. You know, and go inside and to get a drink. And I could see my grandma like really focusing on steering her stew or something. And I'd be like, Grandma, can I steer it? You know, and she loved that. You know, like she loved that I was interested in what she was doing.
Yeah, you wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah, like, and I'd get up there. And so I learned how to like steer something whenever I was like a little kid. So then by the time I'm like 5 or 6 years old, my grandma got me a little skillet and I knew how to make my own breakfast. Whenever I was like, I had to literally pull up a chair to be able to see in the skillet.
You're making your eggs.
Making my own bacon and eggs.
Wow.
You know, a little bitty kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it just kind of, you know, like that was the beginning.
Yeah. My mom does her homemade pies every year around the holidays.
Wow.
A pumpkin pie and a chocolate pecan. And she, I think, has let Josie be a part of that for the last 2 or 3 years now. Allowing Josie to be in the kitchen and help mix and just to watch and learn, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that she has the patience for that now, because I think that patience comes with age and becoming a grandparent.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And like you said, like it's a tradition and like it's a thing you want to be able to give to your grandkids.
Mhm.
Seeing my poppy in the kitchen, he's like 74, maybe 75, and he did like that whole spread for Thanksgiving, and he enjoys it. You know, he
Oh, yeah.
has always enjoyed being in the kitchen. First thing he asked Joe whenever she's going to spend the night with them on the weekends is, what can he make her for dinner? You know, and so I think that's a good. I don't know if that's really
Starting point.
Yeah.
For sure.
I know I wanted a piece of that chocolate pecan pie.
Oh my gosh, it was.
It just
so
sounds good. Chocolate pecan.
Well, pecan is my favorite.
Yeah, for sure.
But then adding chocolate onto it, I was like, this sounds like something she should be sharing.
I'm gonna have her make one for whatever Christmas thing we have.
She just we don't need no special occasion. She just makes
Just any random
Yeah.
day. I made no
Like
bakes
tomorrow.
last week. I missed out.
One time I had a pecan cobbler.
Ooh.
sounds good.
That was so well. That was in Texas, like at a steakhouse.
That's all we're gonna do this whole live. Just talk about all the food. Yeah, it was delicious.
We're gonna put together our Christmas menu. So just drop us your favorite. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Drop us your favorite desserts in the comments, and we'll add them all to a list. But yeah.
Let's see. Let's catch up on some of these.
Yeah.
Christy Combs says, "Good morning."
Good morning, Christy.
She wrote it out in her language, but I have no
Go
idea
ahead.
how to pronounce that.
Try it. Just try it.
Do you remember where she's from? That would help me pronounce it.
Just try it.
It's ECOHH VYVTIKV.
But just try it.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Try it.
No, I won't butcher it.
That's better than not trying it.
I was gonna try it, but I know some of those.
It's probably like ecotech or something like that. But you know, it has all those other verbiage in there.
Mhm.
So Stacy says, if I cook, everyone knows to stay out or you're getting yelled at. Marion Jackson
By the way.
says from Quillette, 8 years, 4 months. Thank you for being
Hey,
here.
thank you for tuning in. We appreciate that.
Aunt Mealy says, good morning.
Good morning, brother.
Carlos Torres says, good morning, brothers and sisters.
Hey,
Firestarter
Hall.
Carlos Satank Torres representing Tunnel Vision Recovery. God bless everyone.
Hey,
Thank you.
yeah, that's the brother.
Good morning. God bless
morning,
Stacy
good
said, good morning, Cuzzo to Aunt. And Natalie says, pecan is also my favorite.
Mm.
Cynthia John says, Moapa Band of Paiutes, Southern Nevada,
Hey.
5 years, 11 months. Good morning. Thank
Hey,
you. I
thank you
love
for tuning
listening to
in.
your platforms.
Appreciate you tuning in with
Sharing
us.
that.
Yes, thank you.
Aunt says, today is keychain day for me. 6 months clean for me.
Hey, all right, brother.
I
All
love
right.
it. I love it. Gave me, wow. Give me a second.
Yeah.
I love it. Gave me grace when I get up for allowing me to be better. My life relationship with my loved ones.
Thank you very
Brother
much.
Randy Nolene says, good morning.
Good morning, Thong Man.
Oh, Natalie said that's in Creek, Seminole.
Oh, she did that
Yeah.
pronunciation.
Ichuk Hayadega. Ichuk Hayadega.
Hayadega.
That was pretty good.
There you go.
All right, all right.
Legend joins us. Says, good chilly morning, brother and sister. Good to see you.
Good morning,
I'm
sis.
391 days well today. I realize the spirit of addiction has been passed down to me, but it also ends with me. Breaking the cycle is very powerful and it's a process. God repurposed my life. I was reborn. He made me stronger than any addiction or alcoholism. I have replaced all the negative people and negative things with positive people and positive things. We're all made in the likeness and image of God. We're born on. There's more to it. Let me see if I can read it. We were born and preserved for a time like this. Live life like you mean it. We do recover. Thank you, Tor. Love you all.
I like that.
Oh,
Live
sis.
life like you mean it.
Definitely.
Cheyenne Dawn says, People One. My name
People
is
One.
Double Woman. Watching from El Reno. I'm 83 days sober.
Hey, all right, sis. I seen you were dancing. this
I
weekend.
know.
That's awesome. Super proud of you. Super proud of you, sis. So yeah, you know, like I had something, you know, like, you know, I got Cali peeps, you know, people from here that are out there in California.
Mhm.
And, you know, I always try to encourage them, you know, try to, you know, like just, you know, make suggestions about, 'cause, you know, we got a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, like like it's so easy to get caught up in the, I guess you can call it treatment game, where you don't have to get a job, you don't have to do much. You just got to show up and go to, I mean, I understand you're only sick as your secrets, and like some people are sicker than others.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like when it comes to responsibility, like getting a job, or like that was one of my things, was I became unemployable.
Yeah.
And my life was unmanageable. So I knew, like, whenever I was, at the top of, when I was doing good, it always involved me having a job. That's whenever I knew, like, my addiction had gotten out of hand, because I started putting that first. Like I would only get a job if I could get higher drunk. Like to me that was like the yeah, that was like my dream job.
Yeah.
And of course I picked a field, construction. Where as long as I could manage it just enough to make myself feel good, then I could get some good work done. And I learned a lot along the way, but after getting, like getting into recovery, that was one of the first things that, people at my program were like, well, can't you get back into construction? I don't know. Like, I'm not saying all construction workers are bad, but for me, I knew, like that's kind of why I got into the field.
Yeah, it just wouldn't be a good.
Yeah. So, you try to figure out these different ways. My first job was at a call center, and then I got hired by, it's called the Rock Center in Stanton, California.
Mm-hmm.
It's a state funded detox, pretty well known in Orange County, and became a tech there. I was a tech and a cook.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a tech and a cook over there. And, like got my foot in the door and kind of helped me realize, like, I want to be a part of this field. And, so came back to Oklahoma, worked with the Buffalo for over a year before I got this job.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then, like there's just, so like, like one of my sisters wrote, I think it's time for me to get a job. I tried my best to, like, man, that's like some of the, like that's one of the most positive steps you can take.
Yeah.
Is, like, stack up some, a few paychecks. That way you're not coming back and you don't have nothing.
Right.
Like, it's like you have opportunity to, put some money in your pocket. You only come back empty handed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because, that's what a lot of people do. They come back and they don't have nothing. Because all they did was depended on the insurance to pay for everything while they were out there.
Right.
So, then they got to come back to the same situation. They ain't really got a lot of options. So, like I'm making these suggestions. And, I fell asleep, woke up the next morning, and I seen where one of my old friends gets on there, and he obviously relapsed. Is like he started commenting in the middle of the night and starts talking smack, not only to me but to her. I'm just sitting there thinking, like, I'll like slap the dog at you. You know what I mean? Like never in your life have you ever been that guy to speak up on anything, like, but then I had to like calm myself down.
Mm-hmm. Process your feelings.
Like don't let this guy trigger you. And I just remember like putting on there, because he brought up like some gang stuff, and he's not from a gang. Like I don't even know why he even went there. Mm-hmm. Well, then brings that up, and then So then I'm like, like, watch out, Pee Wee. Don't be speaking up on grown folk business.
Yeah.
And then he's like, puts another comment on there. I know where you lay your head. You better stop while you're ahead.
Oh. Y'all are just going back and forth at this point.
But then I just put like, I thought about it like, with him, he's obviously, like he sees some people doing good, like, like I wonder where his mentality is at. Like he started commenting in the middle of the night and was like just sitting there waiting on me to say something back. And like I just, I had to sit there and say a prayer for him.
Yeah.
And on my next comment, I put a bunch of laughing emojis and just said, just cute. It's kind of like, but I started thinking like why did just, like I know he fell back into his addiction, right? Because he also said some like hateful stuff to, to my sis that was trying to, say positive things. Even she like deflected his negative comments. And then her mom gets on there and was like ready to go to war. But like that's kind of, like that's how offensive he was being. And I just remember thinking like, why am I letting this guy who's obviously, still sick, like why did I let him take me there? So it had me thinking about, like I need to get recentered. I need to like, and this is weird because I started thinking like, how can I help? Like my automatic thing was, how can I go help somebody? And I, get a phone call. And it was like, as soon as I started thinking like, I really need to go help somebody right now, because then that takes my mind off of focusing on what's making me feel off center. And then, being able to help somebody else, like it really, really, like it really got my feet back on the ground. And, like it helped me understand, like, this is really why I do this.
Yeah.
Like it really got me back in that mode where, okay, well, what, like somebody has a problem, like I want to try to help them. Like I know I can't go fix it for them, but let me, like let me be there. Like because I always think about, let me be the person that I never had. So that really helped me out this weekend.
That's like, and hearing you like talk about the way that your brain worked in that situation is only a result of being in recovery.
Yeah.
Because just because we got sober and we worked a program doesn't mean our brain isn't going to take
Yeah.
right back around to the things that used to cause us all these
Mhm.
issues, and saying things we don't mean and having to, apologize for them later. When I was in my addiction, did I apologize? No.
Hell
You
no.
know what I mean? But now, like, I get to, and so hearing that made me think of just your brain, like, working in a full, not really a circle, but like it took you around and then like you came back to yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what works for you today.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's really good. And I've been having to practice that a lot because people are judgmental, even your
Yeah.
family members, like, my God. And then obviously we're going to be getting together for the holidays, and so the whole way to Thanksgiving, not the whole way, but I just was processing all my thoughts and my feelings that morning, and I thought, man, if they say one thing, I'm just going to walk out. But that would be giving them the power to affect me. So I just prayed and prayed, God, give me the patience to deal with whatever comes my way, whatever people have to say to me, allow me to, take that in and just respond and not react. And so that was my before the holiday practice. But yeah, I think it's good to be mindful of that, not only just around the holidays, but just every
Yeah.
day. You're gonna deal with people that want to ruffle your feathers.
Yeah,
all the
for sure.
time, and
Yeah, and looking back at this guy, like I looked at some of his other comments, because it wasn't just her post that he got on. It was all these other posts. Like, I mean, just
spamming Facebook.
man, like he was on, like later on, he made a post about saying something to a young chick, and she was like, hell no, like you're old, like I don't want nothing to do with you, like I don't even do drugs. So it just made me wonder, like, what he even put on there to make her say that? Because he showed, like, he took a screenshot of their conversation and he just went into this calling her out her name. It was like, then, like, posted it like, I'll call you out on your BS. And it was just like, wow. Like, how simple. How simple, like, she didn't, she wouldn't take his advances, and then so now she's she's all these bad things. And I was just thinking like that it let me know that good thing I said a prayer for him. Maybe he got some food in him, some water, got a little bit of rest, can probably go back, and because that's my thing is, are you really going to stand on that?
Right.
Like,
what mistakes are you making
yeah,
while you are under the influence? And
You
what
know-
does that look like when you wake up and come out of it?
because he's not that guy.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely not that guy. So it just like caught me off guard. Like, and then to see his other posts, I think at one of them he told someone, I'll send something to your kid's school that'll rot out their teeth.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like he
Don't
was
bring the
like,
kids into it.
yeah, he was on one. Like just wanted to, like he just wanted to raise hell. I just thought like how miserable does a person have to be?
Right.
To just want to raise hell on social media.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, I feel like some people wake up and their thought is, "Whose day can I ruin today?"
Well,
How
that
am
was
I
the
gonna ruin
thing.
someone's day today.
Is I don't even think he woke up.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure he was up all night. Like, but like, I wish I could help. That like that was at the end of the day. That's how I, last night, after sitting there and saying my little prayer, I just remember thinking like, man, like I hope I get to help.
Mm-hmm.
And I quit being, having these, like thinking like, oh, if I seen him right now,
Yeah.
So I had to think about my own peace.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to think about like, why am I allowing this guy like more headspace? Why is he living up here rent free?
Yeah.
So do we have any more comments?
Yep. Alicia Roberts says, "Good morning. It's snowing here in Reserve, Kansas, and council just let us off early. It's a snow day."
Hey, all right,
Good
all right.
morning. Enjoy
Hope you
your
staying,
snow
yeah.
day.
Hope you staying careful.
Yep. Cameron Curtis says, "Good morning, my dear friends."
The Buddha of love. Good morning, sir.
Aunt says, "I moved back from Hollywood, Florida. I have an uncle that is 11 years clean."
Hey, all right.
Miss Faye Frazier says, "Good morning. Glad to see you all back. Hope you all had a great time with your families."
If it
Good
wouldn't,
morning,
if
sister.
it wouldn't,
And Aunt was talking about you building. You were good at building cardboard houses that y'all would play in, and that you would all his would always fall over and you would fix it.
Bust them up.
Albert Albert Red Hat says he's in Edmond, Oklahoma, house managing at Nowamis Grace Sober
Hey.
Living.
That's
All
awesome.
right, all right. Thank you for sharing that with us.
David Deere says good morning.
Stongo,
Morning.
Stongo, Istongo.
Leslie Boton says I love you, bro.
Love you, sis.
And Aunt said good morning, Stacy. Let's wish Marissa a happy birthday. My sister is 34 today.
Hey,
Can you guys give her a happy birthday?
happy birthday,
Happy
Marissa.
Remember when she would steal your hat? When you'd see her again, you just say, just have it.
Yeah, she would. She would literally take my hat and keep it for like a whole month. I'd be like, she'd like bring it back to me, it'd be all beat up and bent up. Like, go ahead, little girl.
Christy Combs says,
Marissa and Daniel.
yeah, walking in humility is hard. Thankful for grace and forgiveness.
Definitely. You know, and yeah, like and maybe because I was trying to be in a positive mindset whenever, you know, I'm making these suggestions to my sis, you know, and then to have him come in and like I think it was more or less the way that he was rude to her.
Yeah.
You know, like
We started this conversation with you talking about people getting like going to treatment and
Yeah.
just kind of like riding that wave for a while, and like coming from like I knew that I had to get back and provide for my daughter no matter what that looked like. So I continued on with my current career that I was in until, you know, I decided that I was ready to find something different. So like if you just from my experience, finding that routine again, having that, you know what I mean, having that routine of waking up and going to a job was all a part of my recovery, which kept me balanced and grounded to be able to move forward, you know what I mean? And so I think
Yeah.
that there is such an importance behind finding a job, you know, no matter what that looks like. There was a guy that I went to treatment with, and he completed his 30-day treatment program, followed through with IOP, and once he finished that, they hired him as the cook
really.
at the treatment center. You
That's
know what
cool.
I mean? And then
Yeah.
like he might have got his certification to become a tech following that. You know what I mean? Like you just never know what opportunities are going to come your way in recovery. So
Definitely.
don't ride the wave too long, you know.
Yeah. You know, and that was when, you know, that was one of the things for me is realizing like how unmanageable my life was. You know, and it was there's this old guy at Fountain Valley Alano Club. He would he would, you know, older, you know, old school. You know, been sober 20 something years. He'd get up there and be like, "When's the last time you bought toilet paper?" And I was just sitting there like, damn, that's like a valid question.
Yeah,
You know,
think
like,
about it.
whose have I been using? You know,
Have I been using it?
yeah. You know, like it was a valid question. When's the last time you bought toilet paper? You know, and I was just sitting there like, wow, like that really simplifies, you know, a lot of things of how I was living in and, you know, what I was doing. I was expecting somebody else to take care of it. That was my thing, you know, and that was like part of the reason why I got sober was I'm like, I'm 40 years old and, you know, like I still got to be looked after. You know, like my brother, you know, here he is with his family. You know, like his kids, it ain't gonna be too long before, you know, like they're gonna be grown-ups and, you know, then they're gonna be moving out of the house. You know, like here I am still 40 years old.
40-year-old baby.
Yeah. You know, and that's what I realized, you know, is the first 40 years of childhood are pretty rough.
Yeah. And like
You
thank
know?
God for those resources, and
Yeah.
thank God that we had a place to go away and get well and we were able to have all the things we needed, like toilet paper, food, water.
Yeah.
But
Can't wait on that forever.
yeah, don't milk it. No.
Yeah, that insurance is gonna run out.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna, like, what are you gonna stay in sober living the rest of your life? And maybe some people need that.
The accountability is important.
I had a friend in
Until you're
California.
ready to stand on your own 2 feet and run.
One of my housemates, he owned a restaurant in San Francisco. But was in sober living in Fountain Valley, and like drove a BMW. But he could not. He needed that accountability.
Yeah.
Like he could not. Like there was no way of going around that. Like he was a good guy. He'd talk about recovery all day long. He'd spend his days going to this meeting, that meeting, this meeting. Like he knew all, like the big shots. And we would sit there and have some great talks about recovery. So I get that. He wanted that accountability.
Yeah.
So
All right. Should we do we have any more comments
Mhm.
before we get into this meditation?
Cole Elizabeth Hill says from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Love the women's Wellbriety group here. 1 year clean and sober today.
hey, thank you for
you,
sharing.
Creator.
Today is your 1 year birthday.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. That's huge.
That's
That is
amazing.
huge.
They also say toilet paper, yes. Had to learn to budget and buy my own toilet paper and
Yeah.
paper towels. No more stealing them.
Yeah.
And then Randy said, we know you don't use toilet paper. And then Amy Valdez says from Silmar, California, 43 days sober today.
Hey, thank you for sharing that with us.
That's awesome. We have all these other people
Yes.
tuning in, man.
From all
It's
over.
awesome.
That's awesome. See what happens when you get on?
I know.
When you
Sorry,
find
I
your
didn't
passion.
You sit and blink your eye.
Yeah. I know. It's all about me.
quit. Not even.
Well, should we go jump off into this reading?
Let's do it. It's December 1st. What happened to the year? Oh my gosh. Okay. Sometimes dreams are wiser than waking. Black Elk. Oglala Lakota Sioux.
Isapa.
Oh yeah, I can't say that.
Isapa.
Ihaka
Ihaka Sapa.
There we go. The Great Spirit has many ways of communicating with the human being. He talks to us through the 5 senses: sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. For example, we can observe nature and see a lesson or get an answer. These 5 senses function primarily in the physical world, but we also have the ability to receive communication from the unseen world.
Unseen world.
To do this, we have a sixth sense.
Mhm.
It comes in the form of dreams, imagination, intuition, inspiration, or a hunch. Along with the dream or intuitive thought, there is a feeling, a knowing. We just know it's true without the need for proof. We need to pay attention to our dreams and intuitions. Don't cast them off as being silly or useless. Be respectful to your dreams and feelings. Creator, if you speak to me through dreams, let me know it in terms I can understand.
You want to go first?
Yeah,
Ladies first?
I really like this. Sometimes dreams are wiser than waking. I've had some pretty crazy dreams in my life. I think I talked about it on here before, but my dream of like seeing me in a casket was right before I got sober, and that seemed like a wake-up call. You know? Like this is what you're rolling into here.
Yeah.
The end of your rock bottom. I don't know, but yeah, I do feel that I do get signs from God or the universe, and like that's my part of my direction. You know what I mean? Whether it be in numbers or people, things people say to me out in the world, you know. I used to walk around trying to look intimidating so people wouldn't speak to me. But you never know what, like, a random stranger might say to you. So I try to just not, like, go out of my way to talk to people, but, you know, just like a smile or like a wave or something. Like, you don't know what door that could open. So last night, the dream that I had was very interesting, and it was honestly my first time to dream in a long time. I got a new bed, and it's very nice. So I think that I sleep so good that I don't dream very often, but
You don't remember.
yeah, that too. So in my dream, you know, we were talking before this about using dreams. It wasn't a using dream, but I was going back to treatment. And it was confusing. It was like I walked into the treatment center and I had my bag and everything, you know. And you know what happens when you get to treatment. You might make that last phone call, you know, or
Tell them you're there.
let someone know you're there, and then, like, well, my phone was gone for 30 days. And so you know, turn my phone in, and that's kind of it. That's time to get checked in and start the process. But so I just remember walking into this treatment center, and I saw 3 people that I went to high school with. And I'm not going to say their names on here, but I could tell you exactly who they were. And so I'm just kind of like reading into my dream this morning as I'm waking up, and I'm like, do I reach out to those people? Are they okay? Is that my sign? You know what I mean? Or was that just a random part of my dream, and that's just who I saw there? So dreams are so interesting because, yes, they do have messages in them, but it's important to not get too deep, you know?
Yeah.
Into overthinking them and things like that. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like getting checked into treatment, and I like didn't even relapse, but my family just dropped me off there. And so I'm like, that is so interesting.
Yeah.
So I remember telling myself, well, this will be a good mental reset for me. This will be time for me to be alone, get my head in the right space. You know, I've been saying for a while that I need like one whole day to just sit in prayer. Like, I want that, you know, just sit in prayer, no distractions, put my phone away. So maybe that was my sign to take that day for myself, be in prayer, be in the complete silence, you know, being in meditation and just being with my thoughts. And I don't know, I have ADHD, so we'll see how that goes. But usually my brain's like, all right, we're meditating and you need to go do laundry, or, you know, you need to go to Walmart, something like, just, I don't know. So that was an interesting dream, but it took me back through the whole treatment process, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
We do receive to do this. We have a sixth sense. It comes in forms of dreams, imagination, intuition. The having the self-awareness today and the intuition on people, places, and things that were before, like, hindered by alcohol and substances, you know. I'm grateful for that. The intuition, inspiration.
Yeah, for sure.
We just know it's true without the need for proof.
Yeah.
We need to pay attention to our dreams and intuition and stuff. So yeah, that's what I have.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. You know, I would say most of the dreams that stick out to me today are, you know, my using dreams. You know, because I've looked at these things in all different ways. You know, there's been some where, like, right before I relapse, like, I'll wake up, like, Oh my God, thank God that was just a dream. Like
Yeah.
that felt so real. And then there's other ones where I've already used, but I'm trying to like play it off.
Mhm.
Like coming to work or like I'm trying to play it off. And like those are the ones that really stick with me.
Yeah.
Is where I go through this whole dream trying. I'm embarrassed. I'm full of shame and guilt. I'm scared of everything, and I'm angry, and then eventually I wake up and like it's such a relief.
Yeah.
Because in my dream I'm telling myself, oh my God, all that time
Going.
gone, like, and I start like, why, like what happened? Like what would ever make me, like why was that the only solution?
Yeah.
Like, and like to be able to have that mindset in my dream, I think is a blessing, because then it gets me up thinking, like, thankful.
Yeah.
I wake up thankful. I wake up, start being honest, like, where am I slipping in my life?
Mhm.
I always try to think about the physical. I don't go to those people, places, and things. That's a good, that's where I start. What people are in my life that cause these feelings, or bring that out. What places am I at where I got to watch my back and watch out for what I'm doing, like watch out for who's around, and then these things, you know why, like just even just going by the beer aisle, like I sometimes, like, I don't even, it doesn't even like cross my mind anymore.
Yeah.
Like, what is Takati going for these days? Like I used to ask myself that, like,
Yeah.
oh, now they come out with my favorite beer, like, so, like, like I avoid those thoughts. And well, then I think about my emotional. Am I getting so angry where I feel like that's an option?
Mhm.
Am I getting so down on myself? Am I Thad Theta? You know, um,
I didn't hear that. I heard my name. What?
I said I'm not a Thad Theta.
Oh, that.
I need Carmela to say it. It's funny when he says it. Can you say
I'm not that.
We're not
I'm not Thad anymore. So like it's just emotional.
Right.
I start trying to look at my emotional. And then there's my mental. Where am I at mentally? Why? And I've heard people that's been sober 20, 30 years say that those dreams do not go away.
wow?
Like they talk about it so much, they're in this thing so deep that that is all that they think about. So like, it still happens to them. And they don't take them as a bad thing.
Yeah.
They're not a bad thing.
No.
Like if you're able to have that, like when you get that feeling, or when you have, like, it's a good thing for you to notice, like I don't want to be like that.
You get to feel the guilt and shame all over
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
but it's not actually real.
It's not real,
That's kind of crazy if you actually think about that.
It is.
A little deeper.
And so I wake up, always grateful when I wake up from one of those dreams. And then the spiritual aspect, it's like when I wake up grateful that it was just a dream. It's like my I feel blessed. I feel grateful, thankful, and appreciative that I even get the opportunity to wake up sober, not hungover, healthy, happy, You know, like then I'm in a good mood.
Mhm.
You know, and it starts my day off right. But do I look forward to having a using dream? Not at all. You know, but you know, like I can still find peace in waking up from one of those. But you know, I consider dreams, you know, being Cheyenne, like it can turn into like a sacred, peaceful time because we believe that that's when our people come back to visit us. You know, I've dreamed about my grandmas. You know, I've dreamt about, my son. You know, I've dreamt about my dad, um before 2 days before I lost my son, me and my brother Carl Bryce were going all over Thomas, riding our bikes, like we were, because when we were little bitty, man, we used to take off all the time. We'd get in trouble all the time for taking off. And it's like we were little kids again, and we went all over Thomas doing everything that we wanted to do. Riding our bikes because he taught me how to ride a big bike.
Yeah.
And we were little kids again, and he took me all over Thomas, and we came to the front of this house, this Indian home, and he goes, like, we just like, it was real noticeable, like, like we're little kids just riding our bikes, and then bam, like we're in front of this Indian home.
Mhm.
And he's like, "Hey, it's grandma's house." I'm just like, "Oh yeah, this is grandma's house." He's like, "Man, if this is grandma's house," he said, "this is our house." And he's like, "Come on, let's go see grandma." And she had been passed away for a few years at that point. And we go inside, and it was all of my grandmas in there.
Wait, this is your dream, right?
This is my dream.
Oh, okay.
All my grandmas were in this house.
Mhm.
Every Thomas grandma I had, my grandma Nellie, my grandma Mary, my grandma Ruby, my grandma Jessie, my grandma Minnie, grandma Annabelle, grandma Marybelle. Like, and that's whose house he was talking about. It was my grandma Marybelle's. But like women that I've only seen in pictures. I didn't recognize a couple of them because they look young.
Yeah.
Like that's why it was like I focused on them. And it's like at some point I seen them and they were my grandma. But I'm just like, why do you look so different? Like their hair wasn't gray. Like,
Oh,
like
some of the younger
yeah.
then. Wow,
And
that's kind of cool.
they all came up and they all hugged me. All of them were like hugging me. And they weren't really like crying, but like it wasn't a feeling like, I think it was more of a comfort thing. And then 2 days later my son took his life. And my brother, my cousin Carl Bryce, he took his life the same way too. So it comforted me in a way that showed me that if he can come and see me and he can take me to where my grandmas are, then I know that's where my son is. Like and something about that comforts me.
Mm-hmm.
Something about knowing that he gets to experience my grandma's love. Like I completely trust in why I had that dream.
Yeah.
Because I sat there for 2 days like, why would he, like why, and then after everything happened, like I completely understood.
Wow.
Because Carl Bryce is the first friend I ever had in my life. I mean, I know we're related, but like that was most innocent time in his life and mine. You know, like we're just now, 3, 4, 5 years old. I went to school first, and when I'd get off the bus, he'd be sitting right there waiting on me.
Aw.
You know, like
Cute.
he was, like that was my brother.
Yeah.
So I always think to myself, like, man, I owe so much you know, to my brother. I miss him, I love him. But it lets me know. And one time my friend asked me, like, if you could speak to your dad, what's the first thing you would ask him? And I said, because of the person that my dad was, the father that my dad was, I said I would ask him, how's my son?
Mhm.
Because I know they're together.
Yeah.
So like dreams can be powerful.
Mhm.
And not saying that took away the pain and heartache of missing my son, but in a way it comforted me that nothing in this world could.
Yeah.
So I completely get when it talks about the unseen world. Nobody will ever know that comfort that I felt and how it came to me first
Mhm.
before any of that ever even happened with my son. So I'm a complete believer in that our dreams definitely speak to us.
Yes.
And so that's what I really got out of when I think about dreams and how we interpret them and how they make us feel. And how, because I can have a horror, I can have a nightmare,
Mhm.
but I don't have those no more.
Yeah.
A nightmare to me is a using dream. But then when I wake up, I'm just like, because sometimes, like I said, I'll come to and I'll already have used.
Mhm.
Then I'll be like, nah, I already used, like, give me that.
And like, what's your mindset for the day after like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But like, I know that dream that you talked about will like stick with you forever. Like,
Forever.
you'll probably have no like trouble remember, keeping that one with
Oh,
you
no. Like,
close. But
yeah.
sometimes, we have a dream and then we forget it, or like I'll wake up and remember a dream and I'll go on throughout my day and be like, oh, I wanted to tell my mom about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's gone. And so if there is a dream that's significant, I like to journal about it or write it down somewhere so that I can keep it. And then, maybe someday I'll have something happen like where I can look back and be like, oh my God, I saw that in a dream.
Yeah.
Or my friends, my two friends that passed away in high school, hadn't even really thought about them in a long time, and then I have this dream, this was a few months ago, of my friend Jesse, and he's just sitting there smiling at me. And that was the dream. That was the whole dream. I think we were back in a classroom in high school like we were. We had like these 3 classes back to back together, me and Jesse. And Carson, our other friend that passed away too, he was in at least one of those classes. But at one point we were all together, and that dream took me back to that one moment when we were all together and he was just smiling. And so I'm like, he's okay. You know what I mean? He's good. He's okay. And people that lose their lives so soon, it's really hard on the family, but
Mm-hmm.
they're okay,
Yeah, for sure.
And I find a lot of comfort in that too, and a lot of peace. So
Do you have any comments?
Ruben Buck says, I found out that in the morning, if you go back to sleep for 5 or 10 minutes, your dreams are way more vivid.
That's true. That's like the REM sleep period, and that can cause some wild dreams.
Yeah.
Legend says, we still need a name for our urban well-variety
I know,
talking
right?
circle here in Oklahoma City.
Mm.
Christy Combs says, we are spiritual beings, and it makes sense that our dreams allow the Creator to speak to us, whether it's a warning or to bring peace and comfort about a situation. Most of my dreams are an encouragement to keep going on the path that I'm on.
I like that. Thank you for sharing that with us. And it's, I remember in my addiction, some of the dreams that I had were so real. Like, And like one time, I just came back from the bar. I was using, and I was gonna, get extra lit, do a little bit more than I would usually do. And I remember after I did it, I woke up the next morning, and in my dream, my grandma was so mad at me. And that was like the only time I ever dreamed about it.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma was so upset with me.
Oh no.
Like I didn't even get to feel like the feeling of doing what I was doing. I just like automatically just fell right out, like just like that, just. And the way that like I woke up and everything was still in the same exact place.
Really?
I was just like, oh my God, like all I could think about was my grandma being so mad at me, and it was crazy. It was crazy, but like dreams, part of that unseen world. To me, it's always how I feel in them. Like maybe the situation, like that's what I hold on to. Is how I felt whenever something happened.
Yeah.
Like whenever I have what's it called when you already dream about it? Deja vu.
Is it deja vu?
No.
No, that's like where you feel like you've been there before.
Yeah, deja vu.
Oh, dream deja vu. Okay, that's a new.
Yeah, like you've never done that?
I don't know.
I don't know, like maybe
I go places out
my grandma
in the world and then I feel like, oh my God, I've been here before.
Yeah. Like my grandma used to be like, maybe that's your gift. Because I would dream about places that I'm about to go.
Yeah.
I've dreamed about going to the ocean. I've dreamed about going to one time I dreamed about going to Hollywood, Florida. And I went, like I dreamt about the places I would go. But it was always the feeling that I had. Like I would just notice one thing. Maybe it was, the sidewalk. Maybe it was colored different or.
So when you have a dream, is the dream from your point of view, or can you see yourself
Always
in the dream?
Always my point of view. I've never really had that like out of body type dream.
Yeah.
Where I see my.
That dream that I had of like my death, I can remember like it really vividly actually, and I'm walking in the back of like the funeral home, but it's like the chapel, and I'm just running through all these people, and there was a bunch of people there, and I'm just like, who died? Like what happened? I'm so confused, and like my body was filled with so much fear in the dream. That's what I can remember feeling. And then I just walk up to the casket and it's me there, and so that was kind of an out of body experience. But I do remember feeling so much fear and so much like so many bad things from that dream. That dream happened for me the night before my 24th birthday. And my 24th, the year that I turned 24 is the year that I got sober. Just 3 months after that. And so it's just crazy, like the timelines and everything, right before my birthday too. Like I'm about to
go kick it.
Not like that. I'm about to be another year older. And, a birthday is like not a reset, because you can reset your life every single day. You can start fresh, wake up new, and, decide something different for yourself. But, a birthday feels like a new chapter, I guess, a new door opening. Sure. And so,
do we have any more comments?
Yeah, Leslie Boton says, I have a dream that I was dreaming about my real dad, that he's looking down at me because I look like my dad.
She sure does. She's just like my uncle.
Nat responded with what you guys are trying to figure out. She said, are they recurring dreams, premonitions? Cole Elizabeth said, it sounds like you're talking about premonitions.
Yeah, I guess so.
Deja vu or.
Well, whenever I won't notice it until like it already happens. You know what I mean? Like
so that would be like premonition, I feel like.
Premonition. Okay.
premonition.
And
Well, you know, like, but when it happens, you're like, I said deja vu.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Nat says, I sometimes have dreams from someone else's perspective. I used to tell my grandma I dreamed someone else's dream last night.
Ooh, that's interesting. I have a book about dreams. I need to read it.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, you know, because there's just so many different interpretations. You know, there's just so many, and you know, I think they're all valid.
Mhm.
You know, like I can't go and tell somebody, oh, this is what your dream means,
Right.
because you know, like these things have different meanings to each person.
hmm
You know.
Yeah.
So-
How do you and like
yeah.
how you interpret your dreams and what you take away from them is everyone's unique and own experience. And premonition means experiencing a feeling or strong sense that a future event is going to happen, often without any logical reason. I had to look
Yeah.
up the definition because
Yeah. I mean, you know, like I don't realize it until it just happened. You know, like when the dream, whenever the one about Hollywood, Florida, we went to the Hard Rock, and months before that, I remember I woke up one day and I was like, I'm going to Las Vegas. You know, that's what I'm telling everybody. Like when I had a dream, I went to Las Vegas last night. You know, and then a few months later, I get the opportunity to go work in Hollywood, Florida. And as we're walking up through this, you know, the Hard Rock Casino, the shopping area, as we're walking through there, I notice the sidewalk is exactly how I remember it.
in your dream.
And I remember I looked up and there's this gelato, but I didn't know. I thought it was an ice cream parlor. It's a gelato, Italian gelato. But there's a guy standing outside selling Budweisers and Bud Lights.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought in my dream, I thought that I went in there and got a gelato or got an ice cream. But no, I walked out. You want a beer, you know, like.
Gosh. Yeah.
But I remember getting it, and I just thought to myself, like, damn, I thought I got ice cream, you know. But it was the fact that, like, it wasn't until then that he gave it to me, and I'm standing there, and I'm like, I've done this before.
Yeah, that moment of like.
Yeah, like
realization.
I've you know, I wasn't in Las Vegas. I was at a casino, but I wasn't in Las Vegas. You know, I was in Hollywood, Florida at Hard Rock.
Maybe that is your gift. Maybe you're a fortune teller. No, I'm just kidding. A time traveler.
Like, let me see your palm. You're gonna be sad today.
Yeah, if you let me know ahead of time,
Yeah.
I can let you guys know ahead of time. Things will go much smoother around here.
This can be a fatty today.
Yeah, let me be a tad theater.
Oh my god.
We all
Oh my
caught up
God.
on the comments.
Everything's all cut up. Well, we just got one. Cole says, don't understand this. Recently, on 2 occasions, friends have contacted me to say I was in their dreams. I don't dream, but apparently I like to run around in other people's dreams.
What? Just visiting other people.
Do
in
you
dreamland,
believe
huh?
that you have hundreds, maybe even thousands of dreams a night?
And you just don't remember them?
Yeah, you just don't remember them.
I don't know.
I
It's a
think
whole new theory that I'm gonna have to read into.
I think so. I think that's kind of what they say. Most dreams are like a couple seconds long.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
I've had a lot of sleep paralysis, but we can get into that another time because that's scary.
That's a real thing too, you know.
It's really scary. Yeah.
Yeah, we can have that conversation after we get off.
Mhm.
Actually, because I have a very interesting, not my experience, but one of my close relatives. You know, they have like it's a real thing.
Mhm.
But you know, thank God we got some medicine burning. We got some, you know, positive energy going right now. But do you have anything else?
don't. I just want to say feels good to be back and to interact with our friends and family. Thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you.
And this holiday season, it's like, things can be hard. So just make sure that you have good support, someone you can call and lean on if times get tough.
Yes, it is that time of year. Depression, becomes a little bit more. It's just that time of year. If anything, you can get on an online meeting.
Mhm.
You can get on a Zoom meeting. I go to Everything AA. It gives you, all these listings of, nonstop meetings. Go to your local Alano club. Go to, your NA, your Wellbriety. I mean, like there is a community out there if you just, if you're willing.
Right.
So don't get caught up in your own emotions. Don't. I mean, I understand it's that time of year, but go sit down and talk to somebody about how you feel. Don't hold those things in. So that's all I got. So like, share, follow. Tell your mammy about us. We appreciate everybody that tuned in from Canada to Nevada to all over, like to here to El Reno. So like, share, follow. Tell your mammy about us. We will see you tomorrow. Hope.